الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
Hello Muslim friends of the world. One of the powerful countries in the world is China. Panda Country has 31 provinces, autonomous regions and large cities which are under the direct administration of the central government. Of the many provinces, Xinjiang is an interesting province because it has the largest Muslim population in China. It is known that Islam is a minority religion in China. Data collected by the MPIRD team from the CFR, Council of Foreign Relations, agnosticism is the most widely held belief with a percentage of 31.8% of China's population. In the next position, there are traditional Chinese religions, 30.8%, Buddhism, 16.6%, Christianity, 7.4%, and Islam with 1.8% adherents. Xinjiang itself is home to 26 million people with around 58% of its citizens adhering to Islam. The largest ethnic group inhabiting Xinjiang is the Uyghurs, plus Kazakhs, Hui, Kyrgyz, and other Muslim ethnicities. For the Uyghur ethnic group alone, the number reaches 12 million people. In the past, Chinese people used to call Xinjiang Xiyu, which means Western region. However, over time, this region became known as Xinjiang or the New Frontier. This happened after Xiyu was annexed by the Manchu dynasty in the 18th century. This province is in a relatively quiet and steep mountainous area. Most of the population works as shepherds and farmers. In the field of culture, UNESCO listed Uyghur Mukam as an intangible cultural heritage since 2006. Mukam itself is an art that contains various elements, such as dance, song, and folk music which has various rhythms. Most of the song lyrics are by classical Uyghur artists. The songs sung contain the lives of today's Uyghur people. Quoting a journal published at the Third International Conference on Art Studies in 2019 with the title Study on China's Uyghur 12 in the Past 40 Years of Reform and Opening Up by Nurbay Iman, Rehimatullah Tadaji, and Osman Juma, Mukam deserves to be called a cultural treasure China, which has been around for decades. Mukam is influenced by 19 countries and regions on the borders of Asia, Africa, and Europe. Each country has its own name for Mukam. So, it can be concluded that there are at least 19 Mukams in the world, who come from various different countries. If you visit Xinjiang, you must visit several tourist attractions that are quite famous and pleasing to the eye in the region. Examples are the Pearl of Tianshan Mountain, Gobi Desert, and Seiram Lake. It is best for tourists to visit Xinjiang from March to May, in the spring, because many beautiful flowers bloom in the province when spring enters. One of the flowers that is often seen in Xinjiang is lavender. Apart from spring, another suitable time to travel to Xinjiang is from August to October. At this time, the Xinjiang region is entering autumn. Of course, the views of the mountains, lakes, and even forests will be presented very beautifully, typical of autumn views. China is the very old home of Muslims. The message of Islam in China was expressed not long after the Prophet Muhammad died in 632 AD. The figure who brought Islam to China was Sa'ad bin Abi Waqqas, on the orders of the Prophet's friend, Caliph Usman bin Affan. According to Iqbal Shafi in A Brief History of Muslims in China, Institute of Strategic Studies Islamabad, 1983, the arrival of the delegation brought the Chinese population into contact with Islamic teachings for the first time. There is also physical evidence of the spread of Islam in China, namely two ancient mosques in Canton, Quantasei and Qilinsei. Both are the oldest mosques in China, said to be the first to be built outside the Arab region. Long story short, the opening of trade routes via various modes of transportation made Islam develop in the Bamboo Curtain country. Although the Islamization process has not resulted in this religion being embraced by the majority of the population. Referring to data from the Council of Foreign Relations, 2020, Islam ranks 7th in the list of religions practiced by the population. Muslims are only a minority, around 22 million or 1.8% of China's total population. They are divided into 10 ethnic groups. The largest is Hui, which is adhered to by the majority of the Han population and is located in Ningxia, the western region of China. Apart from that, another ethnicity that often represents Muslims is the Uyghur group. Quoting VOA, Uyghurs have 11 million people living in China's autonomous region, Xinjiang. What makes this group famous is that they reportedly often experience unpleasant treatment from Chinese authorities. A number of media reports and sources reported this, although China rejected it. In a Guardian report entitled, "Were a People Destroyed? Why Uyghur Muslims Across China Are Living in Fear," it is known that Uyghur Muslims often experience repressive measures in the form of terrorist accusations, torture, bans on worship and detention. Some sources say it was due to political reasons. Since the 20th century, Beijing has considered it an extremist and separatist group, which is rebellious and wants to break free. Meanwhile, Uyghurs consider themselves not part of China because they have cultural differences. This attitude is different from that experienced by Hui Muslims. They initially did not experience oppression because they were obedient and able to assimilate into local culture. However, Beijing's tough political stance against terrorist groups has made Hui Muslims vulnerable. In reports by the South China Morning Post and Al Arabiya in 2018, repression also happened to Hui, such as restrictions on religious studies, imams, a ban on the call to prayer for reasons of reducing noise pollution and Islamic symbols. However, amidst this pressure, what is the existence of Islam in China? In 2015, a survey was conducted by the National Survey Research Center, NSRC, of the School of Philosophy of Renmin University of China. From interviews with 4,382 people, it was found that 22.4% of young Chinese people embraced Islam, ranking first, followed by Catholicism and Buddhism. Another research entitled "The Muslim Minority Nationalities of China Toward Separatism or Assimilation," conducted by a team from Texas A&M University, stated that in the period 1990 to 2008, Muslims in China experienced an increase. From current figures, the number is predicted to jump to 31 million in 2030. United States of America. For the number of mosques, there are around 30,000 spread across the Bamboo Curtain country. The majority are in Xinjiang. Even though it is predicted that it will increase, the ghost of repression will always exist. It is possible that the increase in numbers will be accompanied by the destruction of mosques and oppression of Muslims.